All right, thank you all for sticking around. That makes a ginger feel good, being up second. So I'm excited. This is the first time that I've actually gotten to speak to a group outside of my core competency, which is data and analytics. I'm 20 years into my career, and I'm super excited to talk about this. Hopefully, this is you'll see from tonight's conversation that I'm trying to build bridges to you all because we need you. We really do. So my team and I, we're a consultancy based here out of St. Louis for the last 9 years, and I like to tell my customers that we want to help them with their initiatives, with their infinite amounts of data, how they visualize it, how they predict upon it, and how they prescribe solutions upon it. Right? We're located here centrally with our partners Integrity. They're nice enough to let us shack up with them, and we do fun nerdy stuff together. So, just sort of like show of hands, does anybody know what business intelligence is? A couple, all right. Anybody actually like working with data and analytics? So just a couple, okay. So when we think about enterprise BI today, maybe just to set the stage, you'll see some of the logos of the big vendors on the market that create technologies that let not creative people take data and try to turn it into information. And the results that we'll talk a little about tonight are really ugly and maybe don't tell the right story. And those users might be really perfectly happy with their simple yet boring and not the right story solutions. And so this evolution in my head sort of happened maybe 6 years ago. Entered a competition with a bunch of nerd friends with one of these vendors' technologies off the shelf. Take data, turn it into a cool story and a dashboard. So we hooked my big friend John here up to a bunch of sensors, streamed that data in the cloud, visualized it in real time on one of these big enterprise technologies. And that was that first epiphany that said, data doesn't have to be boring. It doesn't have to be rows and columns, because that's not what users actually crave. They crave information. They want to know, what do I need to do my job and do it more effectively so I can get in and get out and get on to the good stuff, right? So fast forward to today. We're taking that exact same technology, right, in the corporate enterprise world and using modern frameworks and real-time data and all the things to tell more elegant and more robust stories in how we visualize data. All right, that's set up. So when I start to think through this with my customers, I think about it in 3 main dimensions when we're getting started. The first is careful architecture planning, right? As a data guy, I know it's cumbersome, and lots of it makes things run slowly, and that makes users hate your guts, right? So we think carefully of that. That's not for tonight, but that's one of the things I'm thinking of. The second is those beautiful and usable experiences, right? How do I create compelling visualizations that lead them to the right conclusions so they can do their jobs? And then finally, having measurable and attainable goals. Am I moving the needle for my company because I did good stuff with data and analytics? So let's focus on beautiful and usable experiences first. I totally invented people, process, and technology. No, that's a lie. But it's right. It's right for you as UX and developers, and it's right for us as data and analytics types. And I'll get into this in a minute, but for anybody unfamiliar, we want to care the most about the humans that we're solving problems for. We're over here on the left. We also want to know what business problems are they trying to solve for, right? Because if we can't solve those business problems for those humans that we're trying to solve problems for, we haven't really accomplished anything. We're just creating more rows and columns of data. And then finally, as nerds, which I'm surmising a lot of us in the room are, we bring the technology that we know best to try and address those problems and do it in an elegant way. When we take that approach, right? Don't get lost in this diagram, but it's simple. When we fully understand those business use cases, how does your business problem generate more revenue? Or how does it avoid cost? And we mash it up against all those cool technology things that we know, we find that parity and alignment that lets us go build and create good things for our business constituents. So let's play the only socially acceptable game of hot or not in a setting like this. All right? And participation in mentor. And remember, I'm not a UX type, so my bar is probably lower than yours, so just bear with me and laugh, because that makes me feel better. And cheers, right? All right, so you're going to tell me, just group think, hot, not. Ready? Is that hot? See, we're making headway together. Like, that's pretty colorful. How about this guy? No. Great use of 3D? No? All right, how about this guy? At least not. All right. Ish. Okay, I told you the standards may be a little different. How about this guy? $19.99 wants his dashboard back. He's fancy. How about this guy? Dark and brooding. Yeah, I get hot. And this, that's storytelling. How about this guy? Nice little CRM system. Not too shabby. And this one? A little more CRM action? All right, a little cumbersome, but you know, somebody tried. And this one? All right, so I'm pleased. We're all on the same page. What about misleading data visualization, right? Not a political disposition, but clearly everybody got better than 50% in this Fox News pie chart on a three-way. I don't even know. Or using scale incorrectly in a visualization to really show what's not necessarily a drastic variation is a drastic variation. Or correlation causation, because clearly ice cream sold affected murder rates. All right? Or somehow Reuters managed to take and make an inverted area chart look good? I don't even know. I don't know. Standard gun. No. Okay. Or even the worst of all, Argyle bar charts, because that's. I should have worn my socks that were like that. Or really just ultimately picking the wrong visualization. You know what? That's like another 2-hour presentation we're not going to get into today, but that is a big problem. Or back to our 3D. Why bother? Depth doesn't matter. So when I work with customers that are thinking about it, I actually made this meme. I'm taking full credit for this one. True story. But really, you had one job: tell the story correctly, tell it fast. Users don't want to wait for stuff, and tell it beautifully. All right. So let's focus in on beautiful and usable experiences. And I am in fast forward mode because a lot of you are standing. Want to get you out of here, or drinking, whatever. We've all sort of come to the same consensus of what's hot and what's not. I appreciate you all for that, because you'd have to leave otherwise. But this paradigm shift where we start to think about how our analytics solution, just like an application you might create for a customer on their website or on a mobile device, generates revenue, avoids costs, or maybe just in general, has a positive influence on a business process. And so my UX friends here at Integrity, phenomenal, right? They help me change my way of thinking, where in traditional IT application development lifecycle, we gather requirements, we do development, we deploy our application, and this number of possible design alternatives is maybe seemingly infinite at the beginning. And when we take that due diligence step of changing our dynamic, we used to get data and say, oh, I'm going to deploy all this, and it's going to go to production, and I'm going to have a giant data warehouse, and then I'm going to figure out how to solve business problems with it. It's backwards. When we think through those same business problems in the lens of what a UX designer might do with human-centered design, and how we apply what the human behaviors are and need to be, we reduce the number of possible design alternatives, and we don't cross the line of doom. Because if we build it wrong in the end, they're just not going to like us. Like, If we assume we know what they want by just throwing data at them, they can't solve the business problems that they set out to build. So UX gives us structure and a better approach to deploying analytical applications. This shouldn't be new to you. Like, surely half of you make wireframes, but we don't, right? Because again, we started with data and we just threw it in their hands and said, hey, go figure it out because self-service is the dream of America. No. We use the same design conventions that you would use in a human-centered design process to say, okay, how do you want to consume this information? Should it be on a mobile device? Should it be on a screen on a wall? Should it be sitting at your desk? We're bringing the solution to them where they sit, not pulling them to where we want them to consume the information from. And so that gives us context. It gives us and my information consumer contextually what I'm going to build, how I'm going to build it, and make sure it checks the boxes for them. Again, not something you haven't already seen, but a style guide is super powerful to a guy like me. When we take these off-the-shelf BI tools, there's dozens of them, right? Tableau, SAP, Cognos. Guess what? Most enterprises, I will bet $5, they own more than one of these tools, right? And users don't want to care about tools. They want to care about information. So we as analytics and data practitioners can bring a great service to them by picking consistency in how we deliver analytics, whether it's a Tableau document or whether it's an SAP document. When we bring them consistency, they don't have to care what technology we brought to bear to solve the problem. They just want to care about the information that helps them do the job once again. And so when we apply that, and I'm using SAP as an example, because I mean, flagship, one of the biggest footprints of enterprise business intelligence customers globally, right? We can give a business user that style guide and the application of that template so that people don't have to care about how do I pick the right visual or the right color or the right mat. It's all pre-built and pre-baked for a business user. You could apply the same thing to Tableau or Click or Domo or ThoughtSpot or any of the other mainstream BI tools. Many of them even support CSS, right? Did you know that? So we can apply the same style and look and feel and experience regardless of tool used to author the content. That's just another example of another tool that brings that same style guide to bear. So I want to talk a little bit about, any questions before I march along? Okay. Sometimes I have to remind myself to come up for air and take a drink of my wild turkey. So, examples. So early on, when we took on a project with a customer in New York City, online grocer, Fresh Direct, hopefully not going to get squashed by Amazon and Walmart, but their goal was threefold: create an online storefront, have a logistics business that delivers groceries inside of New York City, and really sort of be the premier grocery delivery business. Right? And so forgetting tool for just a second, they had a business problem, and it came down to user experience, and we were just dumb lucky enough to solve it in the right way at the time. But they said, we have an operations center. We have 8 flat screen TVs. How do we deliver analytics in real time to the business with actionable information? And so we took a step back and said, okay, how do we start to create BI that doesn't require human intervention or interpretation? That, my friend, is prescriptive analytics, right? We're telling the business user exactly what actions to take based on outcomes in the data, right? So what's more valuable to the enterprise? Somebody in an operations center reading rows of data saying, I think I'm going to have a late delivery. I probably ought to dispatch another truck. Why not simply give them a user experience that says, oh, crap, the Bronx is in trouble, it's red, dispatch another truck so we can make the window at noon. I mean, that's powerful stuff, right? We eliminate human error risk, and we increase, or I should say decrease, the latency in which somebody can respond to an action like this. So prescriptive analytics. Cool? Ugly. It wasn't pretty, but it worked, right? And they ran autonomously on a flat screen on a wall. Another example, we worked with Olympus, specializing in colonoscopy cameras, right? Super fun dashboard. But all right. So this is a great project that we worked on with Integrity, where instead of starting with the technology, we started with the business problem. Olympus wanted to ask, how do I make my sales force smarter? And through this, what was, or I guess originally like 6 PowerPoint screens, it actually devolved into 50 something crazy screens. But we took, believe it or not, that same tool that I showed in the last screen and authored something that was CSS based, was responsive, and guess what? Didn't actually have a chart, didn't have any kind of visualization. But what it did was it walked a business user intuitively through lead segmentation, right? So it's just a different way to think through how you take user experience and apply it to enterprise analytics technology to solve a hard business problem. Who do I sell to? The really cool thing about this one, after it went live, was an application of predictive analytics, right? So imagine the power of taking that same user experience and being able to tell a business user, I think your customer has a propensity to buy X based on prior purchasing decisions. Well, we solve that in a really cool way with another local startup here in St. Louis called Harris Logic. Cool, great group of people that are trying to address the behavioral health crisis in the United States through technology. And in this example, again, working with our friends at Integrity, we thought through how do you create a clinician cockpit so we reduce the time it takes for somebody delivering real-time care in crisis to another human being, somebody that might be suicidal, somebody that might be about to abuse drugs again, right? And so this application, streaming data in real time, integrates real-time predictions inside of the workflow. Again, it's not meant to replace a human decision, right? That's the scary Skynet AI proposition, right? Let the machine start to make decisions for us. No, in this case, predictive analytics is used to help a clinician and support the decision that they're going to make and how they deliver care to a client in real time. And just bragging a little bit, this is an Innovation Award winner, because like this customer is awesome and they want to change the world. And so SAP threw them a bone and gave them the award for this. But why I think this is important. So with technology, with enterprise BI, okay, we took an 8-week pilot, and within that, defined a new user experience, so simplifying the clinician use of this data. We built a new backend to stream data in real time into this application, and included that predictive algorithm so we could help them identify people that are really strongly at risk and what those risk variables are in delivering care. And so statistics aside, it's a massive boon for taxpayer dollars to help people with behavioral health issues with a technology like this. And it's a great example of why user experience is super powerful in creating applications. Because on the left, it was 1 part native application. And on the right, it was also 1 part off-the-shelf consumer BI product, right? And so when we bring, once again, that parity between user experiences, the user doesn't have to know or care where they're clicking or where the data came from or what the solution was. The user just wants to solve a business problem, and in this case, help somebody, right? And so thoughtful design let us meld those 2 experiences together in a homogeneous way. So when I'm talking to my customers, I'll often tell them it's really okay if this is not you. A data and analytics person isn't often creative. Like, I draw in crayons still, I really do. But if you find that person, they're a unicorn, and you should hire them immediately and pay them everything they ask for, because that's great. But that's what we found in sitting here with Integrity. It's like the right blend of how we think about user experiences and how we achieve that solving business problems with data in elegant ways. I also tell them, look, if you're a customer, find your marketing or brand development team. You likely have one, or you already consult with one, right? The creative types can help. You can also read a book. I mentioned you could spend hours talking about how to bring the right visualization to a data problem, right? There are so many schools of thought behind this. Albert Cairo, Stephen Few, everybody has an opinion, and they're great. But there's the minimalist approach. There's the Steve Jobs approach, make it flashy and clicky. That's for you to decide, not me. I'm not the creative one, right? Or ask Google, right? Because don't pirate, don't pillage, but find inspiration if you're not sure where to go. So I'll say in conclusion that I tell my customers just chucking data out there and expecting the business to succeed with it is a fallacy. It doesn't happen, and I can't tell you the number of times that I've seen these types of projects fail, especially after you just spent bajillions of dollars with a big box consultancy trying to get it done, right? In my hot or not slides, I think creating analytics stories that are factual, they lead the information consumers to decision-making criteria and not just data dumps, is really valuable, and make them look hot, because you can, and everybody likes a little sizzle, right? Early on, I talked about capacity planning and setting measurable and attainable goals. Figure out what problem you are solving with it, and know what the mark is, so that you can demonstratively show, oh my gosh, doing cool user experience stuff with data and analytics is rewarding to my enterprise. Because guess what? In my entire career, 20 years, BI and data have been consistently in the top 3 areas of spend for enterprises globally, right? I don't think that's a number that's going to change. It's only going to get deeper with AI and machine learning and all the new fun stuff out there. You still got to make it look sexy and useful. Understand adoption gaps, right? Just because you built it doesn't mean it's taking off. So we continually monitor and understand what those business problems are and why they can't use it. Because if you don't, your users will find another way, and it'll likely be in Excel, and it will make you cry. True story. So I hope my brief talk on awesome analytics was helpful. I'm happy to answer any questions about how we got here. Thank you very much.
So Eric, really, he screwed up this whole presentation. It was horrible. The first 3 slides were supposed to be, like about Eric, so you guys know who he is.
Oh.
Yeah. So Eric's 8 years now. You've been everybody knows who SAP is. SAP. He's been an SAP mentor for 8 years.
Thank you.
And he owns his own business, EV
Technologies.
which stands for
Electronic vehicles.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Anyway, Eric Vallo.
Thank you.
We're gonna stick around. We're gonna network for a little while. Do your thing. Eric's gonna be here if you want to ask him questions. I'm gonna make him stand over here on this side.
Right here.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.